the American people stand firm in the faith which has inspired this nation from the beginning. We believe that all men have a right to equal justice under law and equal opportunity to share in the common good. We believe that all men have the right to freedom of thought and expression. We believe that all men are created equal because they are created in the image of God. From this faith, we will not be moved.
Hello, God bless America, and welcome to the Freedom of Thought podcast. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Freedom of Thought is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. It is a great pleasure to be back aboard with you once again today. Gonna kind of get caught up a tiny bit. It looks like there were some comments, and I'm gonna make sure I pay attention to this from here on, because I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, you're able to comment on Spotify. Say if you're a Spotify user, you can comment on each episode that way. So it's a really effective way to interact with this show, and apparently some of you have. Some of you like a while back, others more recently, and I really appreciate this. I think it's wonderful that people would actually care enough to interact with me on this show. It's obviously an honor. So this is a campfire episode outside by the campfire, literally, or fire pit, as I like to say, in my Golden Valley apartment area. Thankfully, my garage for the apartment is way, way off on the edge, so I can kind of, I can do this without getting in trouble in any way, being close to the apartment or anything. So it's really nice. It's kind of like having a house, but not quite, because it's as close as I can get to this stage, but not whining and complaining about that. I might whine and complain about the very noisy bugs and animals that are making a lot of sound tonight, but I guess that's okay. It's part of the feeling of this campfire-like episode. People always talk about like a campfire episode. Well, mine are actually campfire episodes. Just hope the audio isn't terrible. A couple things I'm going to get to today, a couple of topics. I'm going to talk some more about, again, that Jeremiah Johnson dream that he had way back in March 2020. I want to get back to that a little bit, unless I blindly forget, but I'm not planning on doing that, of course. And again, get caught up on your comments as well on Spotify. In fact, I'm going to jump to that right now so I don't forget the comments. So I'm going to go from recent to further back. It's a weird way to do it, but what the heck. Spotsy78, that's actually my friend Donna, I do believe. Yes. Yep, that is my friend Donna, coming in out of Coon Rapids. I hope I'm saying the correct city. I know she was in Champlin for a while and then Coon Rapids. We've known each other since 2004, so pretty cool. We met at work way, way, way back in the day. And great friend, of course, and God-loving conservative as well. So this was the episode, Our Giants on Earth Now. She says, very interesting. I look forward to more in-depth on that topic. So, yep, we will get more in-depth on that topic in the future, no doubt about that. Another one from Spotsy78, again, Donna. Trump dominating the primaries. Oh, I guess I did read this one. She was asking about the running mate. Again, that ended up being Vance. So interesting. I think he was mentioned when we talked about that at the time. So yes, I actually did get to that one. It did end up being Vance, of course. Lee, way back on Hawaii, Biden, and Atlantis, about a year ago now. Great episode. Really loved doing that one, where we talked about the Recrot structure, more than likely being Atlantis. And of course, the fires in Hawaii and the way Biden responded to it and not caring at all, like literally showing no caring. I think this is Lee Hepner from Canada. I think so, because I know he's commented on the Facebook page in the past. Awesome guy. I believe he's a friend of Mark Carlson as well. He says our weather app, pardon me, is not climate fear app. LOL. Yep, I agree with that in a big way. And then Nimrod and the Nephilim, way back again in July, close to my birthday in 2023. He said Micah chapter 5 explains what happened to Nimrod. Joey, great podcast. Love the subject matter, and we're going to get into Micah 5 in a moment. Last one, Bud Grant, Herschel Walker, and Micah Parsons. Again, this was in, I believe this was pretty sure, yeah, this was like February-ish, 2023. She says, hi, knowing the Dems will keep Senate control, do you think Sinema leaving the Democrat to become an independent will make any difference? And it's like, you always hope so. So far, it's like no. And I know, again, this is an old question, and I really deeply apologize for not noticing it in the past. But again, it's a very effective way to interact with the show, and we're going to encourage you to do that from here on. So, yes. Unfortunately, yeah, I mean, I think the one that's going to be the most effective, of course, is RFK. But great speech also by Tulsi Gabbard. What an awesome conservative Democrat she truly is. You could tell she's a conservative Democrat, something that doesn't really exist. Now she's an independent something, more conservative than Democrat, hopefully, than we thought. So, yeah, these are great interactions. And again, I deeply apologize. There might even be interactions on other shows that I do, like sports and video games, but I don't think there are any comments on those, but I will give that a look-see. So let's go to Micah 5 and look at what happened to Nimrod, so we can catching up on that, if humanly possible. Apologize for the delay, but I can only do so much at once, unfortunately, with the way things are set up at the moment. Also want to really appreciate those of you that have donated and or have recurring donations. It's just, I'm really, really, really appreciative of you, and can't thank you enough for that. It means the world to me. It truly does. I'm going to look for Micah now. Micah chapter 5. Micah 5. 15 verses, huh? Okay, well, let's get to it. Now gather yourself in troops, O daughter of troops. He has laid siege against us. They will strike the judge of Israel with a rod on the cheek, the coming Messiah. But maybe I'll kind of dig through it really quick, because maybe I don't need to be a... Okay, this might be interesting. Judgment on Israel's enemies. When the Assyrian comes into our land, and when he treads on our palaces, in our palaces, then we will rise against him. We will raise against him 7 shepherds and 8 princely men. They shall waste with the sword the land of Assyria and the land of Nimrod at its entrances. Thus he shall deliver us from the Assyrian when he comes into our land and when he treads within our borders. Interesting. The land of Nimrod. That would be Babylon, right? Interesting. The remnants of Jacob shall be in the midst of many people, like dew from the Lord, like showers on the grass, that tarry for no man, nor wait for the sons of man. And the remnant of Jacob shall be, the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles, in the midst of many peoples, and like a lion among the beasts of the forest, like a lion among flocks of the sheep, who, if he passes through, both treads down and tears in pieces, and none can deliver. Whoa, it's noisy, sorry. Your hand shall be lifted against your adversaries, and all your enemies shall be cut off. And it shall be in that day, says the Lord, that I will cut off your horses from your midst and destroy your chariots. I will cut off your cities. I will cut off the cities of your land, and throw down all of your strongholds. Interesting. Okay, we'll continue. And you shall have no soothsayers. Your carved images I will also cut off, and your sacred pillars from your midst. That sounds like the Tower of Babel. You shall no more worship the work of your hands. I will pluck your wooden images from your midst. Thus I will destroy your cities, and I will execute vengeance and anger and fury on the nations that have not heard. So that does sound like what happened to Nimrod, basically. So yes, that's pretty much what did happen to Nimrod. Not an absolute description necessarily like this exact thing happened at this time, but yeah, you get the idea. Generally speaking, Nimrod was, torn apart of the pillars, basically, like the Tower of Babel was. So definitely fascinating stuff, to say the least. The Bible is always fascinating, no doubt about that. So speaking of fascinating stuff, again, I bring this up every now and then because this is obviously in no point to brag. I'm in no position to brag or consider myself some kind of insider or some kind of know-it-all or some kind of, wow, he's got it. He's got this knowledge that no one else has. But in this case, I think I'm the only person. I don't know if I'm the only person on earth that's pointing at the Jeremiah Johnson dream. Unfortunately, most people probably don't even know about it anymore because it's too long ago. I should almost replay it. I should find it and replay it on the episode if I can.
Shown you some things about the coronavirus and about Donald Trump. So let's just start there and have a conversation about what you believe God is saying.
Steve, thanks so much for having me on the podcast today. It's a real honor and privilege to be with you. I would like to share recently on March 16th, I had received a prophetic dream at night where I was taken to a baseball stadium, and on the pitching mound was a tall, slender man who was demonically possessed. His eyes were very dark and he was foaming at the mouth. And in the batter's box was none other than Donald Trump. And Trump was actually wearing a pinstripe New York Yankees jersey with the number 3 on it, which I immediately recognized was Babe Ruth. And I noticed that the count on the scoreboard was 3-2, 3 balls, 2 strikes. And I knew in the dream that the demon-possessed pitcher intended to throw a fastball right past Donald for a strikeout. And as I held my breath and watched the pitch come out, I was suddenly stunned to watch the ball be slowed down by a supernatural force in the air. And by the time the ball got to Trump, it was going very slow, and he hit the ball out of the park for a big home run. And in the dream, I heard the voice of God say, the enemy has intended to strike out Donald Trump at a very critical hour in history, but behold, supernatural help is on the way, for I will slow down the advancement of the enemy and allow him to knock this one out of the park, for it is simply a matter of time before the victory comes. And so I had that dream on March 16th and woke up very encouraged and felt a great sense of peace.
Simply only a matter of time before the help comes. Could that have been a key as well? Simply only a matter of time. And of course, the main part, ultimately, is the balls and strikes. It's a key part, and everybody kind of wrote it off, thinking that, oh yeah, it's a false prophecy because Trump didn't win back in 2020. Well, here he is now, with a chance to possibly have a second term after all. Only a matter of time before the victory comes. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Like ball 1, at least one of the balls, Russian collusion. One of the strikes, maybe some of these court cases. Another ball, or both of the balls, could possibly be the 2 attempts. It could be the 2 attempts combined for one of the balls to be those where they tried to impeach Trump, and they failed. That could be a ball as well. Now they're trying to strike him out in, I believe, September, unless that date changes again for the sentencing, the final strikeout. God will slow the process of the enemy, and Trump will hit the ball out of the park for a home run. Slow the progress of this whole probably Wallace-Harris momentum, as definitely there was a build in momentum, but you can already kind of sense it slowing down a little bit here going forward. You can kind of sense it slowing down, the Harris-Walz progress. It doesn't mean people voting for Walz and Harris necessarily are demons and they hate Christians and God, but some of them do. Oh yeah, some of them are on the wrong side 1,000%. Others, they're unfortunately deceived, and hopefully someday in the not too distant future that will change. Sorry, a log just fell out of the darn thing here. That could have been bad. Oh well, got taken care of. It's not really a log though, more of a branch, but that's what I get for doing a fire while doing a podcast. But well, that's how it is. Best of both worlds: freedom of thought and a fire pit. But 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3 balls and 2 strikes, like I talked about a long time ago. I called the episode a missing link. I really think that this could be something. There could be something to this, and it's sad that no one else is talking about it. And obviously, again, most people probably look at prophecies like, you kind of take it with a grain of salt. But I don't know. I mean, it seems like there's something to this one. 3 balls and 2 strikes, or even is it a prophecy? It's a dream. It's a vision. It's not even a prophecy. I keep calling it a prophecy, but it was a dream, or like a vision in a dream. And yeah, it's fascinating stuff. It was just a dream. That doesn't mean necessarily that anybody's lying or anything like that. It was a dream, but it could be a very prophetic dream. But pieces that people may have missed. Again, the balls, 3 balls and 2 strikes, but also the end, that the victory will take time. Basically, that it's going to take some time. It's going to in due time the victory will come. Yeah, it just felt like that was very telling, that maybe 2020 wasn't the time yet, and that more and more things had to happen first for this to actually take place. Kind of like in, again, this Matlock episode way back in the day, where this man was accused of murdering his friend. These 3 men all worked together in the same company. They were like the 3 big dogs of this company, the big guys, the big boys. They were all Vietnam veterans. That's how they all met, and they became best of friends, and they all started a company together and all that. One of them was murdered. One man was accused of it. I forget what the actual motive was, if he even had one. Just that he was framed by somebody else, and there wasn't enough evidence to overturn the charge, and unfortunately, the man was convicted. But 7 years later, Ben Matlock had a chance to open up the trial again and prove the man innocent, because evidence that didn't exist came into light. And in this case, bits and pieces of this dream hadn't happened yet. This vision hadn't happened yet, in order to get to the 3 balls and 2 strikes, ultimately. As weird as that might sound, again, the telling part of the dream was when as he called it, the voice of God, I'd like to believe it was the voice of God, said that In time, the victory will come. In time, the victory will come. Not like, tomorrow necessarily, but in time the victory will come. And unfortunately for some of us that were hoping Trump would be reelected in 2020, that wasn't the time yet. But now, hopefully it is. Too many things point to me believing that Trump is going to get back in office again. Obviously, the miracle situation, the absolute miracle of Trump turning his head at the millisecond, basically like it was like nanoseconds. Turned his head, right time, right place, right direction. Imagine if he turned his head the wrong direction. It would have maybe been an even more clear shot. And, a death blow on one shot, basically. One bullet, death blow type of situation. That miracle turning of Trump's head wound up with the ear situation. And, of course, again, the blood on the ear being some type of a way to anoint somebody going forward for a very important task to help, hopefully get America in the right direction. Now, if only Trump could lay off the insults on Kamala Harris, lay off the cursing and craziness, that would help too. But, I think too many signs point to Trump ultimately being back in office and there being something to that whole balls and strikes situation that didn't exist yet. Like January 6th hadn't happened yet. The impeachment, them going after Trump for that impeachment thing hadn't happened yet. The Russian collusion, well, that might have been one of the balls, and that was earlier. That was a ball, definitely. As even the FBI director, who was on the Democrat side, said, I have nothing for you. Nothing you can do. I mean, there is nothing. There's nothing we can use against him here. Sorry, it is what it is. So that's kind of how that took place. It's absolutely fascinating when you look at the big picture of this. It's a much more complicated, bigger picture to things here. More and more it seems to be the case that things are a lot more complicated and a lot deeper than we all want to believe. The JFK assassination, a lot deeper than a one-man gunman, or than a one shooter type of deal. That it was just Oswald, just a lone gunman is what I was trying to say. A lot more complicated than that, most likely, like the CIA being involved, Lyndon Johnson even being involved with that one. Insane. I mean, obviously Lyndon Johnson had a lot to gain. President of the United States, hello. And then the New World Order had a ton to gain by having Lyndon Johnson in office instead of John F. Kennedy. Lyndon Johnson was going to do what they ask. John F. Kennedy was going to say, we're not for this. So, hello, why do you think RFK Jr. would join Donald Trump here? Why do you think he would? Hello. So, pretty darn cool to see what's taking place there. I mean, an absolutely beautiful moment was when RFK spoke and joined the Trump campaign. Unbelievable. And there's a pretty good chance he'll be in the cabinet as well when President Trump becomes president number 47. Pretty darn cool, to say the least. To absolutely say the least, they're pretty darn cool. So I read the comments, got into the, I read a bit of Micah. And, wanted to kind of rehash a bit on that whole Jeremiah Johnson dream that took place that ended up, again, hurting him so much as like, he's propheting that Trump is going to be, going to have 2 terms and it didn't happen. Look at this. But, Biden ends up winning because they cheated and blah, blah, blah. So Jeremiah Johnson's just a false prophet, blah, blah, blah. Well, I was annoyed, too, at the time. I didn't particularly like that when it appeared that Biden was going to steal it. It was so dang frustrating. And they were all on a board. They expected you to fork over $20 just to even see the live video. Or I forget exactly what the amount of money was, but it was like annoying. Why do we have to pay money to see a live video here? Like, come on, guys. It should be optional. Like, you can donate. So that annoyed me at the time as well. And then, of course, a lot of other absolutely false prophets. Trump will be back in office by December 20th and stuff like that, which was complete garbage. Q. Like, what a bunch of crap Q is. Q? I mean, I feel terrible for listening to that. And some of you may be believers in Q. I'm not. I'm not. I'm sorry. I mean, they lost me big time. Over one thing after another, Q or them, whoever they are, lost me many years ago already now, when absolutely nothing they said was going to happen happened. Like, so it's like, hello, it's just like a cruel prank. It's like Lucy with the football. Come on, Charlie Brown, I won't pull it away this time. Charlie Brown says, I'm going to kick this ball clear to the moon, and he winds up flat on his back once again. And that's pretty much what Q did to conservatives that absolutely knew the whole Biden campaign cheated royally and that Trump deserved to be back in office, and then to be teased that, everything's going to happen now, he's going to be back in office by August. Bull crap, absolute bull crap. So stuff like that. So no, I was frustrated with a lot of things at the time, that everything's going to be better, and the snow on the ground in October when it was in all 50 states, everything's going to be cleaned up, and people like Ilhan Omar were going to lose, and absolutely none of that happened. It was absolutely disgusting what took place in 2020, but I guess that's just that was just that year. There was really nothing good about that year other than getting some free time off work, I guess, which some of us may have liked, some other people probably hated. I mean, but excuse me, I'm getting smoke right in my lungs here. But at my job, there was a 2-week span in early April. I know not the best time of year, but it was still good. Like early April was still pretty that year, actually, even though it was still kind of chilly. 2 weeks for free. They paid us 2 weeks for free. That was incredible, like the most generous thing you could imagine. No vacation pay had to be used or anything. You just get paid for 2 weeks to stay home. That was cool, man. Unfortunately, though, not even 1 ounce of sports. But other than that, Mrs. Lincoln 2020 sucked. So, like, how was the play? Other than that 2-week span, or maybe that little short furlough at the beginning of, the end of May and into June. But then that was, of course, immediately ruined by the whole George Floyd bull crap. So it's like, that's the other side of 2020. All the depression with the election and all that. And, of course, all that George Floyd bull crap was leading towards, them cheating to keep Biden in office. So, of course, that was all part of it. Absolutely. And motivate people that may not vote to go vote for Biden. That's pretty much what happened in so many ways. It was one thing led to another, led to another. It's a terrible year. 21 was it was a beautiful spring, the most beautiful spring in at least 9 years, if not longer. Gorgeous spring, absolutely gorgeous. But unfortunately, during that time, everything was being ruined by our, current, reprobate, doesn't know where he is, Joe Biden. At the time, President 46, I guess you can call him. Yeah. Well, he's exactly what he should have been if he actually was going to be president. 4 years and that's it. And just even the thought, even perish the thought of a Kamala Harris presidency. Can you even imagine how scary and terrible that would be? So, absolutely nuts to even think about that. But at the end of the day, though, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about tonight, for the most part. Tonight, in my case, that I'm recording this, that again, rehashing some thoughts, and how we're now entering into the month of September. It'll probably be September by the time you're listening to this, for most of you. Well, some of you maybe get it late on August here, the last day of August. That history's happening. History's happening before our eyes right now. Be it obviously the election and other things taking place. Of course, the Israel conflict is still going on. The Ukraine conflict is still going on. Yep. Well, at least I have a bicycle now again, but I got that back on Memorial Day of all days. A very rainy morning that was, indeed. Just want to wish all of you a happy Labor Day, since we're heading into that. This is Labor Day weekend. That's the good part. Looks like a heck of a lot better weather than it was during Memorial Weekend. Though I do remember the Sunday being quite nice. The Monday was lousy. Just an absolute slush fest in terms of how wet it was. But at least I got my work done. As messy and terrible of a day as it was, I got my work done at the very least. Not that you need to hear about my personal life, but, well, I just hope you have a wonderful Labor Day. Labor Day a lot of times does tend to be a drier day, sometimes very, very warm. Chances are it's not going to be as warm, at least in this part of the country. Here in Gordon Valley, Minnesota, compared to, say, God only knows. I mean, you might be from Texas, you might be from California, other parts of the country. And really appreciate every one of you. And I'd love to hear from any of you in the comments. Obviously, a huge shout out to Bob Bierman of the Truth to Ponder, the Truth with the number 2 Ponder.com, or just Truth to Ponder. Of course, those of you that have donated to the show, thank you so much. Anybody willing, you could even do a one-time donation. You could do recurring donations as low as 99 cents. If it's $1.99, $2.99, $4.99, whatever you do, I really appreciate so much, and it can help this show going forward. It really can. I would like to get to a point where I could have more time to do this show. I mean, I'd love to see this show replace the lawn service, so I can have more time to do this show on a regular basis, do more research, have more time to have guests on to increase the quality of this show. I think that'd be a huge thing going forward, because this show's quality does need to get better. It does. Like it's like I have lots of ideas. I think I come in with the right attitude, the right idea, the right approach here. So many topics you can get into. It's not even funny, but I need time for guests. I need time for research as well, instead of just kind of like, some people might think I'm just coming on and just running my mouth, and that's not my intent on this show. Not my intent to just come in and say, oh boy, go Trump and Harris sucks, Well, kinda. Maybe accurate statements, but there's a lot more to go Trump and Harris sucks, or Biden cheated, or blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot more to it than just that. With that said, I want to wish all of you a wonderful and happy Labor Day. Don't work too much, and hope you don't have to. Some of us might have a part of a job on that day, like the second job. So it's like part of the day, unfortunately, but at least not the whole day. That's the lawn service. But yeah, it'd be nice to one day be done with the lawn service. I'm getting a little too old for that kind of work anyway. So it's time to move on and hopefully spend more time with you here on Freedom of Thought versus, out there beating up my ankle and my knees every day. So it's kind of getting to be a little too much after 30 years of doing that. So again, enough of the personal life. Have a wonderful Labor Day weekend. Enjoy the pretty nice weather as we head into one of the more beautiful months of the year, September. Best of luck with those of you that have kids and going back to school, be it elementary, middle school, high school, or college. Best of luck to you and your children going forward. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.